Well, I don't like Trump anymore. Can we be friends again? Not a popsicle's chance in hell there, you slack-jawed fucking sycophant. Because despite whatever harebrained and most likely selfish reason you have for disavowing your orange daddy, it does not cleanse your soul nor my view of you for the shit that you let slide. Because here's a list of things that weren't deal breakers for you over the last 8 fucking years. Sexual abuse, bigotry, an attempt to overthrow the Constitution, countless human rights violations, and just about every form of ism on the face of the fucking planet. And none of it mattered to you. And unfortunately, all of it matters when you're applying for friendship or respect from me. And unlike a late payment on a credit report, that shit doesn't fall off after 7 fucking years. That's not to say that there aren't people who can experience a genuine transformation. Some of these people are just so fucking stupid that it's taken until now to see the consequences of what they've done. But unfortunately, those consequences don't go away. The people whose lives are ruined, the people who just aren't here anymore, their lives don't just restart when you change your fucking vote. So I'm happy to see you wake up, but it's gonna be from arm's fucking length.
It should come as no surprise to you at this point that I am not interested in any way, shape, or form of being attached, connected to, friends with, whatever you want to call it, with anyone. I don't care if we have history together, even if it's good history together. I don't care to be friends with anyone that was a Trump voter or that is a MAGA sympathizer, a far-right enabler, or that decided to sit this one out. Sorry, not sorry. We can't be friends anymore. I can't in good conscience align myself with someone that willingly aligns themselves with a dictator, a fascist, a racist, a sexist, a misogynist, a bigot, a criminal. And that shamefully is just a small percentage of the long list that I could come up with if I kept going. You can't say you're with us and then vote against us, because a vote for Trump is a vote against all of us. And in many cases, especially if you're a woman that also did this, it's also a vote against yourself, whether you realize that now or you never realize it, or maybe you realize it later and you're like, shit, what the hell did I do? The line has been drawn very clearly, and that line is not going away. If anything, it's just going to strengthen, thicken, become more prominent. I've said it before and I will say it again. A vote for Trump is a vote for racism and hatred. And whether you find other reasons to somehow rationalize it or like tell yourself that that's not the case, and even if you yourself live a life that doesn't necessarily scream that you are a racist or that you have hate in your heart or anything like that, you aligning yourself with that, you supporting that, is guilt by association. So yeah, that's it. Do what you need to do, or I'll do it for you.
If you voted for Trump, there's no coming back. There's no coming back from that. No, you can never be my friend again. I don't care how long your growth journey is after the fact you woke up, you realized you're a different person. I don't give a fuck. No sympathy for you. None. The Supreme Court just ruled that ICE can now target individuals based off their skin color, their language. They can discriminate. But you wanted us to believe it was never about race. You weren't racist. It was just because you wanted the illegals out of the country. You wanted folks to do it the legal fucking way, even though you can't explain what the legal way is. Like, nah, there's no sympathy. There's no coming back from that. I'm sorry, we can never be friends. Ever. Because the Supreme Court is now saying the quiet part out loud. Y'all are racist. Y'all are racist. You saw the numbers that the white folks are slowly becoming the minority, and you got scared. You got fucking scared.
The 2024 election was more than just politics. For millions of Americans, it wasn't just a disagreement about the economy. It became a question about values, morality, and basic human rights. And across the country, friendships have ended, family relationships have become strained, and communities have become more divided than ever. So let's have a look. Please like and let me know your thoughts in the comments, all right? Let's get into it.
Oh, and another thing. Me and you will never be friends if you're voting for Donald Trump. Me and you will never remain friends if you're voting for Donald Trump. It's not a political difference. This is not the 2012, 2004 elections where we just disagree on how the economy should be ran. This is my life. If you are willing to vote for someone who gets to determine whether I live or die if I have complications when I have a child, you will never sit in the presence of me. I had took it off one of my closest friends because of this election. It is that deep. Anybody can go. I don't care who you think you are.
I feel like this should go without saying, but multiple times this week I've been asked, oh, why can't we be friends just because I voted for Trump? And I'm sitting there like, well, let me answer your question with a question. And that is, if I had 34 felonies if I had all these rumors about me essaying, if I had all these women accusing me, what would you do? Would you allow me to run for president? Don't answer that. I already know the answer. And I am very quick to point out that society would not let me do that. So their next thing to go say is, well, that's just because he's rich and you're not rich. And I'm like, that doesn't make it okay, but let's just say for argument's sake that that's the reason why. That's fine. So if that's the case, explain Diddy. And they'll be like, well, what do you mean Diddy? I'm like, well, Diddy's rich, right? And then they'll be like, well, what are you trying to say? And I'm like, okay, so Diddy's been accused, right? But it hasn't been deemed that he's guilty, right? Yep. But Donald Trump has been convicted on all 34 counts, right? Yes. Okay then. So why is Donald Trump on his way to the White House while Diddy is sitting in jail? And here's the thing, I don't even support Diddy like that, but it don't make sense to me. Somebody needed to explain it to me because I don't get it. The fact is, and this is where I talk him into the building, this goes straight out to those people who asked. You would not give the same benefit of the doubt that you just gave to Donald Trump to me or people who look like me, and you know it. And you sit there and ask me if we can be friends? Hell no. Because his ass should not have been running in the first place. He should have been sitting behind bars or on house arrest, but he wasn't. And until those things match up and those standards match up, we don't have a relationship. We have nothing. I want nothing to do with you. And that, as they say, is that.
So Republicans are upset because they are losing friendships, they're losing followers over their support of Donald Trump. And I just want to remind people that this is the same exact thing that happened in 2016. This is a piece I wrote for The Guardian after Trump was elected. Someone had accused me of vote shaming, and as I pointed out, it is okay to shame someone for doing something shameful. And this actually was sparked because Mike Pence had went to a performance of Hamilton, and people in the audience were not happy about it. The cast said something, I think, after the play in protest of the incoming administration, and it sparked this whole conversation about where is it acceptable to protest? Is it acceptable to socially shun Trump supporters? And of course, my answer was yes. I'm just going to read you a small section of it because I actually think it could be useful in this conversation that's happening online when you're responding to friends who accuse you of shaming them. You do not get to vote for a person who brags about sexual assault and expect that women in your life will just shrug their shoulders. You don't get to play the victim when people unfriend you on Facebook as if being disliked for supporting a bigot is somehow worse than the suffering that marginalized people will endure under Trump. And this is the most important part to me. Being socially ostracized for supporting Trump is not an infringement of your rights. It is a reasonable response by those of us who are disgusted, anxious, and afraid. And what was so ironic about this was that there was this whole conversation, because Pence was booed at a theater, about how the theater and going to enjoy art or going to a restaurant, that these should be safe spaces for people where they don't have to worry about being shamed for their politics. And like I wrote, so safe spaces are bullshit when you're talking about women who have been raped, but they're vitally important when, a powerful man who advocates conversion therapy wants to enjoy a Broadway musical. And so, yeah, you get to be shamed if you do something shameful, and you're supposed to feel uncomfortable when you do something terrible. And the only shame that we should feel is if we stop booing, if we stop pointing out that hypocrisy.
But let's take DT out of the equation because it goes even further than that. I can't in good conscience align myself with someone or someones that align themselves with others that think this kind of language and this kind of treatment of others is okay. Just make my sandwich. Settle down, sir. You will be fine. Crybaby. Put your mask back on and STFU. Shave your head so you can stand out. All I see is a spiteful woman who didn't get her way. And this is from a woman. You're just mad because I didn't vote for Camel, fill in the blank. Rhymes with bro. Not gonna vote for somebody that wants to be a commie. Angry liberal female. No one on the right gives a rat's ass about your out of touch BS. Sit back and enjoy the ride. You're in MAGA country now. Move if you don't like it. Effing traitor. Are you legal? Let's see your birth certificate. Bye, Felicia. Bye, Karen. Hail President Trump. You need a man. You are a man. You're sad because you think we care what you think. Relax, biche. And this one's also from a woman. It was just an election. We don't have to make a big deal about it. Nothing will happen to you or me. And here's another one from a woman. We are all Americans. Can't we just move on and make this country great? Stop the whining. Evil witch didn't win. You can take your trash and leave. You're upset because now you got to get a job. Go get bent. Here's another one from a woman. When he was president, I personally witnessed significant lower prices at the gas pump. You need a dog. Buy, come, swallow. I'm going to say that. Proud MAGA here. Pissed on liberal socialist Democrats. And we better off with half-breeds? Shut up already. Don't talk about your daddy Don. Shut up, libtard. Sheep lady, shut it. Truck it, but using the one with the S. Envy don't wear well on you. You took the same public speaking class as Madam VP. I'd wax that mustache. Nobody's interested in your mouth. We don't care about you. You must be lesbian. Get a life. I would have voted for a trash truck over Kamala. That laughing hyena can't run the country. You child, get a helmet. You need help packing? We'll laugh harder when he calls for the arrest of Letitia's brass, with an F and the at. There is a janitorial position open at the White House. I believe you're the best candidate. Go buy tissues. Pedos that voted for Kamala. Trump is your daddy. Fuck your feelings. You notice how everything is nothing but insults, and most of them personally. It's not even about policy or about how Donald will be better for the country. It's all garbage. And this is all just off of one video and not even all of them. But that's just an example of the kinds of things that I see every single day from the people that you choose to align yourself with. See, the difference between those folks and the folks that I want to be connected to and be around is that even if we had won, we would be celebrating. Yeah, and we probably wouldn't be able to be quiet about it. But guess what? We would be celebrating with each other. You think we would take the time to go find a bunch of MAGA folks' pages and go comment all of this kind of stuff and then personally attacking every single one of them? Hell no. Yeah, there might be a couple of outliers because some people are just ridiculous. But overall, we would be too busy celebrating and having joy with each other than to sit here and waste our time running behind MAGA folks that we wouldn't even be looking at anymore at that point. Because we would have been looking forward. We would have been looking at how can we improve this country for all of us. And even now, when things look hella fishy, way more than they ever did in 2020 when Trump and everyone cried, this is fraud, elections don't work, blah, 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 blah. You hear that there's nothing being said right now. And you notice how we basically conceded and we're not storming the Capitol and we're not causing a ruckus. And then on top of that, we have to deal with all this hate coming from Trump supporters on top of the fear of what's actually coming once Trump is in office. This is pure hate for anyone that doesn't fit into the image of who they believe America should be, regardless of the fact that it's not even their country to begin with either. Because unless your ass is Native American, America ain't yours. Wake up call, we're all fucking immigrants. You cannot walk the fence and try to play both sides of the line. That's like having someone that is a victim of SA that you have at your home, like I mentioned in one of my other videos, and then you allowing that abuser to actually come and sit at the same dinner table where you actually make them dinner and welcome them. It doesn't work like that. You can't play both sides, not in this. And you can't call yourself an ally or a friend or say that, I'm here, I support all of you, if in fact you didn't when you went into that ballot box. You can't say that you stand with us and then you still chose to vote for Trump for whatever reason. Whether you voted for him because of the economy, whether you voted for him because of the immigration, whether you voted for him because of something else, whatever misinformation you went with or whatever selfish reason you ended up moving forward with, which the irony of all of it is you choosing you over everyone right now is actually going to ultimately hurt you too.
For decades, Americans could disagree politically and still maintain relationship. People voted differently, argued about policies, and still went home as being friends, co-workers, and family members. But under Trump, that dynamic changed completely. The debate stopped being about conservative versus liberal policies. People began to view political choices as moral choices. They saw issues affecting immigration, racial justice, reproductive rights, LGBTQ rights, democracy, and the treatment of vulnerable communities as matters that directly affected people's lives and even safety. In today's world, politics have become part of person's moral identity. People look at Trump voters as people who have caused so much suffering despite all the warnings were given. Because Trump already served as president in his first term. And the people saw all the controversies, all the court cases, all the drama. But many, they still chose him despite all the warnings. So this was a choice that they made. They wanted other people to suffer. They wanted to cause harm to other people. And the people have died, People have lost their lives because of ICE activities. Families have been separated, Racism and division have become normalized right now. Americans cannot afford life, Groceries, gas, rent, healthcare have become more expensive under Trump. And this is because of the policies that they chose. People look at Trump voters as people who are selfish, people who only thought about themselves, but they never cared about the other person, you see. If you voted against my own human rights, that means you don't care about me, and there's no reason of me keeping you in my life. The broader lesson here is that elections have consequences. Every vote carries real-world impact, Policies affect people's lives, families, finances, opportunity, our economy, and even our safety. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.